it works this time, and we're live, my friends. Well, not, you know what I mean, but we're back talking about the WWE and all of its heinous lunatic fringe glory into the year 2022 with day one on
Happy New Year, everybody.
Yep, Happy New Year on ZNT number 60-something. Can you believe we've done this many of these already? Like, how
we
the
have
hell?
done a lot of these, and I'm very happy that we're going to keep going with this.
Yep.
Because, at the end of the day, WWE may be shit, but they always give us something to talk about, and they always give us something to speculate about. This show is anything different. There was a lot on this show that was out of WWE's control, and there was a lot on this show that was like,
do you want to just cut right to the chase?
Bullshit.
What was the big news story coming in?
Okay, so over the holidays, I've actually not been able to be on the internet. I've I hadn't watched any wrestling leading up to this pay-per-view, but I'm watching the kickoff, and I hear Brock Lesnar demanded to be added to the Fatal 4. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Why is he not wrestling Roman Reigns? I immediately jumped to Google. I typed in Roman Reigns, and the first headline I see is Roman Reigns tests positive for COVID-19. He will not be wrestling tonight. Lesnar to be added to the Fatal 5-Way. And I go,
yep.
Oh shit. I am just learning about this. I know the news dropped like 4 hours before the pay-per-view.
Yep.
I found out as the pay-per-view was starting.
No, Roman Reigns did the responsible thing for sure, not wrestling on this show. I hope the big dog gets better very soon. But yes, the main event is now a Fatal 5-Way match, which we will get to. But if you guys are new to the channel, if you like discussing all things wrestling, I, of course, also talk about cinema over here on the regular. Smash that subscribe button. This is on the somehow, some way, you guys have put us very close to 1,000 over here, which is just staggering. And go ahead and little bit more, please. Yeah, let's.
Yes.
We're definitely going to get there within this calendar year, but can't do that without you guys. And hit that thumbs up on your way out if you enjoy what you hear, because Tomas and I have a lot of debates to get into, actually, because, I thought there was a lot of good wrestling on this show, but the booking decisions and the lunatic Mr. McMahon sitting in Gorilla just panicking,
okay, I feel like that's something we just have to accept from WWE nowadays. Good wrestling, terrible booking, and head-scratching decisions. It's like Groundhog Day when you're a WWE fan. You always expect something different, but it's always the same thing. Vince McMahon panicked, but usually when Vince panics, we get some cool shit. Roman Reigns got measles, TLC 2018, so he brought in Kurt Angle for his in-ring return. Bray Wyatt also got measles on that show, and we got Finn Balor versus AJ Styles.
That's right.
Stone Cold Steve Austin almost no-showed a pay-per-view in 2005, so we got Batista versus the Coach with Vader and Gold Dust in his corner. When things happen,
I forgot about that.
It's these weird opportunities where really cool shit can happen, and this was an opportunity to do that, because when Lesnar got added to the Fatal 5-Way, I just thought, well, that just makes the match that much more interesting.
Yeah.
We kind of got, turned on our heads on a dime. So I was very much looking forward to this main event. And now the Universal title's out of the way, all of the hype can go into this Fatal 5-Way.
Right, exactly. And I don't want to blow my load too early in this review, but I was looking at the Fatal 5-Way graphic, and I was like, okay, this is cool that WWE is at least, they advertise Brock Lesnar, and they're giving the fans in Atlanta Brock Lesnar, That's good on them to do that.
It's a pay-per-view.
Yeah, and I was looking at it.
This is an episode of Raw.
Yeah, and I was just looking at the graphic. I was like, okay, this is a good move, advertising, this is okay. Ain't no way Brock's going to win, but yeah, it's a good move for, promising Brock Lesnar and following through.
5 participants in this match, it's easy for, again, I don't want to get into it too much too. There's a lot of room for stuff to happen here. But we got a pretty interesting kickoff match. I didn't see live, but you said you watched it. So go into what we got here.
I literally just watched it an hour ago. It was Cesaro and Ricochet teaming up against the protege and mentor duo of Sheamus and Ridge Holland, which is actually really, really good for Rich Holland. You know, I mean, that's just basically putting the stamp of approval on this guy, saying the sky's the limit, making him work with who Michael Cole called the most underrated performer in WWE, Sheamus. I was totally expecting him to say Cesaro, and I was like, you son of a bitch. Cesaro has not won the World Championship. They both are, yeah, but Cesaro is considerably more underrated than Sheamus. Like, there's no way. There's no way that Sheamus is the most underrated, with all due respect. But
they definitely both are. We got some very hard-hitting mid-carders on SmackDown right now. Like I was saying, you got Ricochet that they're not doing anything with, and I'm convinced at this point they never will.
I don't think we've talked about Ricochet really. I don't think, sorry to cut you off, I don't think we've talked about Ricochet really at all on this show, have we?
Because there's not been much to talk about. They haven't done anything with this guy.
Damn shame.
Literally in the past 2 years. His fire really got snuffed out 2019 when he got that WWE Championship match, and he never really recovered. He was losing clean to Madcap Mouse on Raw for the 24/7 title. He was nowhere to be seen on TV for weeks. He had a makeshift tag team with Cedric Alexander in the Performance Center shows, which never really went anywhere. And it's just like, you have this amazing piece of talent and you don't do anything with it. But again, that's WWE's that's just WWE's way of doing things nowadays. They don't know their ass from their elbow when it comes to booking.
It's their philosophy to make the most talented guys on the roster like Ricochet cannon fodder for their overacts like the Hurt Business, you know? It's a double-edged sword. Yeah. You know, we love the Hurt Business, but there's a consequence with Ricochet being shafted like this. But
the real topic of this match is Ridge Holland. What I've always said about Ridge Holland is that he has potential, but WWE isn't giving this guy the opportunity to get molded. I saw this guy in NXT UK for a hot minute before the pandemic, and I thought he was good. I thought he had a good look. I thought he was really hard-hitting in the ring. And then before you know it, he's already on regular NXT. And I was like, okay, a little too soon, but let's see what this guy can do. He was a heavy for Pete Dunne's crew. He really didn't get to do anything when he injured himself and took himself out for an entire year. He got back, and just when he was about to get back into the swing of things, he gets drafted to SmackDown. And I'm just like, you're not giving this guy the opportunity to learn. And in NXT, he can do nothing but learn and get better. So I just thought, I was really like, with Holland going to the main roster, but he is being very protected right now. And until he can get into the swing of things, he needs to stay as protected.
Right, and especially with as injury prone as this guy seems to be, which God bless this guy's heart. I'm sure he's a really, really nice guy in real life, but this guy just cannot catch a break when it comes to his health in the ring. He is in there with Ricochet, and I'm sure this isn't Ricochet's fault. I'm sure this was like, just pure accident here. But Cesaro flips Ricochet, and he does like a 450 style move. Ricochet's knee hits Ridge right on the bridge of his nose, and immediately there's blood gushing out of his face like a garden hose. Not as much as Joey Mercury was at Armageddon 2006, which is a topic for another time. But immediately I was like, oh shit, this guy's hurt. So immediately
I saw that spot.
Yeah.
And then according to the commentators, Holland was so bad they had to take him out of the match.
It was pretty much a handicap match for the most part. Sheamus the heel against
you know
two guys.
This opens up the great opportunity for WWE to give Sheamus back his face mask and go up to Ridge Holland and say like, hey, don't worry about it, fella. I had this just for you. It happens. And then Holland can don the metal mask for a while.
I didn't even think about that possibility.
I
love
hope they
that.
do that. Sheamus can literally hand down the metal mask to Ridge Holland.
I absolutely love that idea. Ridge Holland then can be like, oh, I don't need your hand-me-downs, fella. Or I don't know if he's going to say fella. I don't know if that's going to rub off on him from Sheamus. But, I mean, this was a really, really good, this was really good wrestling between these three after Ridge had gotten hurt there. And Ridge was doing fine on his own, too. But, I mean, if you listen to this crowd, if you watch this match in its entirety, Cesaro and Ricochet were overacts in Atlanta there. I was very pleasantly happy to hear that.
And it does not matter if Ricochet has a tag team partner and all of the odds are in his corner. They still book Ricochet to lose.
Well, at least Ricochet didn't take the pin in this match. Sheamus actually hit a white noise on Ricochet on the outside. And let me just also say that Ricochet is one of the best sellers in the business right now because he took that white noise on the floor like a fucking champ. and then he's just writhing in agony, like very similar to AJ Styles, a little bit of the Rock's selling thrown in there. It's like a hybrid there, the best of both worlds, and you have Ricochet as a seller, and it's freaking awesome. So then you get the former tag partners Sheamus and Cesaro going at it in the ring one-on-one, and fucking out of nowhere, as if Sheamus just hits one bro kick on the guy, and he beats both baby faces all by himself without his protege, which...
You know, I have a feeling this was always going to be the finish to the match, and they just didn't want to change it because Holland was out. You know, it just kind of made Cesaro and Ricochet look like chumps just a little.
You know what it makes me think is that Ridge Holland was supposed to be the guy who pinned Cesaro here, and they just had to call an audible.
Yeah.
But I don't think Sheamus was originally going to be the dude, but, I mean, who really knows? But... yeah, Sheamus and Ridge win, pretty much Sheamus by himself. I'm comfortable giving it 2 3/4. The wrestling was good, but just bogged down by unfortunate bad luck there on Ridge Holland's part. I hope he gets well soon. I hope he lives up to his potential.
And so the show begins, and I'm going to give WWE some credit right here. I was scared because Migos were scheduled as a special guest for the show. I was scared the whole show was going to revolve around them, like Survivor Series and The Rock and Ryan Reynolds.
Excuse me, who?
Migos, one of the most popular rap groups in the world. And
who?
I find it very offensive. That Vince booked Migos on this show after Ric Flair left the company. Because people who don't know, Ric Flair and Quavo are actually really good friends in real life. And that's really fucked up that Vince brought these guys in after Ric Flair left the company.
I thought you were gonna.
I was scared that.
I thought you were gonna say it was offensive that I didn't know who Migos were until tonight.
No. I was scared the whole show was gonna revolve around them, like that damn movie in Pizza Hut with Survivor Series. But thankfully, I was wrong. I think they handled a special guest on this show the way WWE always should. If you want to have them there, ringside, whatever, don't have them get involved with the show. Just have them there just to be there. Migos are really big wrestling fans. I thought it was harmless for them to be there. There's a difference between a celebrity that really enjoys wrestling and someone that's just there to get a paycheck.
Yeah.
And just to get that out of the way, Migos were harmless on the show. They did a backstage promo. They did nothing during the tag team title match. Anywho, speaking of tag team title match, it's a tale as old as time. I feel like it's WWE's go-to with SmackDown. It's the SmackDown tag team titles on the line. Jimmy and Jey Uso defending against the New Day, consisting of Sir Kofi Kingston and King Woods. We both have said this before. We love King Woods' entrance music, and they finally have incorporated it into the New Day's entrance with a mobile throne of King Woods coming out with Kofi Kingston sitting on the side. I thought that was really cool. I like this King gimmick, especially because it's kind of given the New Day a little makeover. Because when you're a group that's been as solid as they've been for 8 years now, you know, you don't want things to get stale. So I think putting the little King spin on there with the new entrance music and the new entrance, it gives a fresh coat of paint to the New Day, I feel.
I absolutely agree with you, and especially if they don't have Big E with them week after week, like having Sir Kofi dancing on the side as King Woods is like waving to his people, which, by the way, day one wasn't King Woods' hometown, so I was like, okay, he yells out Atlanta, Atlanta, you know, as King Woods like only can.
So how do you feel about King Woods' crown?
I fucking hate it because Tomas was texting me last night as we were watching the show, and he was like, King Woods' crown looks like the Crown Jewel logo, and now I cannot unsee it. And I fucking hate it.
It's so bad. It's kind of like WWE's like, okay, we need this new crown for Xavier Woods. What are we going to do? He likes video games, right? Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And he likes wrestling, right? Yeah. Oh, the Crown Jewel logo. Let's do that.
Yeah. Yeah,
they should have let King Woods design his own crown, because I feel like he would have gotten really creative with that shit.
It looks like a 2-year-old designed that crown for him. Like, Jesus Christ! But this is exactly what you would expect from an Usos New Day contest here. This is just really competitive wrestling. It's fantastic tag team wrestling. It's a go-to for Vince McMahon these days, just like Edge and Christian versus the Dudley Boys was back in the day, or the Hardys versus the Dudleys with a stipulation, you know. But Jimmy and Jay do the Umaga ass to face move in the corner, and I thought it was, it looks a lot more vicious than usual. Yeah, so one of those Usos hits a Superman punch, and I don't know about you, but did it look like they were kind of off just because of the Roman diagnosis with COVID-19?
They really did. They did seem like a little distracted during this match, and so there's 2 points I really want to make about this match. Is number one, I remember way back in the day when I first started watching YouTube wrestling reviewers, I was watching one of them. I can't remember what their name was, but they were reviewing Capital Punishment. And they had brought up the fact that a lot of people were upset that they booked CM Punk versus Rey Mysterio on that show because, quote unquote, we've seen that match a million times. And his response to that was, so what if we see Punk and Mysterio all the time? When they wrestle, it's always a good match, right? Mm-hmm. So if that's the case, why are you upset that you're seeing Punk and Mysterio all the time? That's how I feel whenever I see the New Day and the Usos wrestle. When this match was booked, I was like, we've seen this match on pay-per-view. I want to feel like at least 4 times, but I wasn't upset. Yeah. I could watch these guys wrestle every single week for like a year, and I would never be upset with the outcome.
I'm right there with you. The crowd was chanting, "This is awesome" for them, and I thought it was a match that deserved that chant, actually.
Yeah, so I feel like right now, since tag team doesn't have a lot of SmackDown doesn't have a lot of tag teams that are ready to face the Usos until maybe they have like the Viking Raiders go up there. I feel like there's nothing wrong with them just going with the safe match with, New Day and the Usos right now. I will say, however, yes, the Usos did seem very distracted, and the result of that, out of all the matches we've seen with these guys, that match they had on SmackDown a couple weeks ago, that amazing match they had at Battleground 2017, that Hell in a Cell match they had at the same year.
Love that Hell in a Cell.
The match they had at Fastlane where it got interrupted by Harper and Rowan, by disqualification.
Right.
That was a good match.
Yeah, the match that went to a non-finish.
Yes, and out of all of those matches, I don't know. I know I'm in the minority here, but I feel like this was the weakest match I've seen out of these 4.
Even better than the Fastlane match that went to a non-finish?
Even that was like...
I mean...
I don't want to say better, but there was a lot more... It was better paced. This match felt very slow paced at times.
Yeah.
And that may have been because the Usos were distracted.
The Usos were getting a lot of heat on Sir Kofi also, but I think when King Woods got the hot tag, it picked up considerably afterwards.
And here's the thing. Just because I say this match is the weakest, that's saying a lot. This still was a pretty good match. I'm just saying, out of all the wars they had, this felt like the weakest, but even the weakest New Day Usos match is still better than most of the card.
It was pretty damn good. Honestly, it's my best rated match on this show. Spoiler alert. It's a 4-star match for me, easily. I thought the wrestling was really, really solid. There were a lot of great callbacks throughout their feud and that damn championship contenders match, but there was a point where they locked in the half Boston Crab on Kofi's bad leg, which put him out of action for a little bit. And, Kofi sold that knee injury really, really well throughout this match. You want to talk about great sellers. Kofi Kingston's one of them, my friends. Former WWE champion. Oh, yeah. Former WWE champion. WWE really wants you to forget that for some reason. But there was a really, really strange finish. There were Uso splashes for near falls, and then they hit Kofi with a Dudley Death Drop of all moves. And that's it. They pinned Kofi Kingston.
The commentators called it the 3D. The commentators even acknowledged that it was a 3D.
Yeah, they acknowledged it was a 3D, and then Pat McAfee quickly corrected Michael Cole and was like, "This is the 1D because it's a day one-ish." And I'm like, oh my God, shut up, dude.
Oh my God. Pat McAfee with the New Year's Day references during this show was borderline cringeworthy.
Yeah, and of course you would kick off day one with the Usos, whose theme song literally says day one-ish repeatedly, one beat after another.
And of course they would be facing the New Day, and of course the Usos and the Bloodline's trademark finger gesture is one.
The New Day won. Could you imagine if the New Day won this match? I mean, it would have been a lot. It would have been a lot better because number one, it was in King Woods' hometown. I could go on for days. I'm sorry, but
the hometown boys never win. We all know the New Day are going to be like 50-time tag team champions by the time this is all said and done. But I wasn't disappointed to see them lose this. I do expect them to win the tag team titles at some point. But this wasn't the night to do it. The match was fine. I thought it was. It wasn't like mind blowing to me. It was still a fine enough match. I'm actually just gonna go with 3.25 with this one. Like I said, I feel like this is the weakest New Day Usos match I've ever seen. But that's saying a lot,
Yeah.
Not wanting to put these 4 guys down.
Absolutely, man. But it was, it was a very, very good match. I would honestly call it the best match of the night in a show filled with mostly harmless matches, including this next one, which is very, very weird on paper. My dude Drew McIntyre going one-on-one with Happy Corbin's sidekick, Madcap Moss, who tells dad jokes as his gimmick, which I freaking love as a dad joke aficionado. And then he pulls out his worst one of all when he says that Drew's going to have to be called Who McIntyre by the end of it. And I'm like, well...
That got a little chuckle out of me, not going to lie.
You tried. You tried. You get a gold star for trying. Not one of your best, Mr. Riddick, but...
And I will say, if you only watch the pay-per-views and you don't watch SmackDown or Raw, this is Madcap Moss's pay-per-view debut.
Sure is.
I feel like they have done a lot of experimentation with Riddick Moss, and I'm going to give the guy credit for, running with all of these gimmicks, because that can't be fun as a wrestler to be told, oh, you're going to be Mojo's heavy, and then get that taken away from you. And then, oh, you're going to be this and get that taken away from you. Now, now we're going to pair you up with this guy, and they're going to take that away from you. Like, it's kind of like what they were doing with Blake and Cutler for a while, with the revolving door of never-ending gimmicks. And
it looks
honestly,
like something's finally working. Something's finally working.
I hope Madcap lasts. I hope this is a gimmick that stays with him, because as much as you can make fun of the Happy Corbin gimmick, I think Madcap he's doing the best he can with this. I got to give the guy credit.
Yeah, I am very concerned of what's going to happen once Madcap turns into a babyface and his dad jokes are just going to become worse and worse at that point. But again, I sound like a humongous hypocrite as someone who tells dad jokes all the time. But this match, honestly, I really enjoyed it. It was extremely physical, as a Drew McIntyre match is usually. And I feel like these two had better chemistry than Drew and Jinder, for example, at SummerSlam. Like, I feel like the crowd was more into it. They got more time to work also.
Absolutely. I mean, Madcap Moss was given an opportunity to wrestle on pay-per-view, and I think he took the ball and ran with it. He was selling very well. He took a nasty belly-to-belly on the outside from Drew McIntyre, doing a damn fine flip, and he sold that beautifully.
Drew was fucking
the highlight of the match right there.
Drew was fucking fired up, too, tonight. But
yeah, apparently this match got more time because they were trying to make up for the fact that Reigns and Lesnar wasn't happening.
Yeah.
I mean, they were giving us solid amount of time. They got almost 10 minutes.
Yeah, this is one of the matches that I think benefited from that unfortunate circumstance. But, I mean, these two, I feel like I knew that they had good chemistry together because I actually saw them wrestle each other in a tag match at an NXT house show years ago when Drew was revealed as a mystery partner against the Bullies against Cassius Ohno. But this was honestly, yeah, that's a name you haven't heard in a while, huh? Cassius Ohno.
Yeah, he's doing fine.
Yeah, no, but these two, I mean, again, bless Riddick Moss's heart for having to wrestle in suspenders. Because, my God,
I hate when WWE does that. Whenever they make wrestlers wrestle in anything that's not tights or a singlet.
Well, John Moxley was wrestling like that for ages. So
jeans and a tank top, but I feel like jeans and a tank top would still be more comfortable than dress clothes.
And
like,
suspenders.
Say what you want about Happy Corbin, but 2 of his 5 gimmicks have involved wrestling in dress clothes.
The Constable, King Corbin, yeah. So it was this was serviceable. Drew did a kip up and a freaking headstand out of a sick belly to belly off the top rope. Drew is
pretty damn impressive for a guy who's over 6 foot tall, 250 pounds.
Yeah, 6'5", easily 260 for sure. Drew then does the 3-2-1 countdown, the loudest I think I've heard it in a while. This crowd in Atlanta was hot. But Drew, they tease the Claymore. Madcap runs off the ropes, and then Drew runs and hits a Claymore pretty much right after that, and then was there any doubt Drew pins Madcap there? But it was a pretty solid match. I mean, I enjoyed it. 2 3/4. Not too much to complain about. So
same. I had a good time with this match. I think Madcap Moss was given a terrific opportunity to show what he can do. And I hope, Vince, I hope you're watching, because I can only hope that this benefits Madcap Moss, because despite his gimmicks being very subpar, I got to give the guy credit for, working very hard throughout all of this.
He's making the most of his opportunities. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
So got to give him credit where it's due.
Yeah, to be consistent and continue with this, Drew McIntyre is found later in the show looking for Madcap Moss and Happy Corbin. The interviewer says, "Oh, now that you've disposed of Moss, are you going to set your targets on Happy Corbin?" Before McIntyre can say anything, Moss and Corbin attack McIntyre from behind. And honestly, in a very brutal spot, they put his head in between a chair and they Pillman his ass.
They Pillmanized Drew McIntyre. They Pillmanized the shit out of this poor guy. Apparently because Drew had been working a lot of matches on that Christmas tour, like working 2 matches a night, like working a tag title match and then a street fight in the main event. But Drew apparently has been having some nagging neck issues, which he's looking to get checked out. Hopefully it's not too serious and he doesn't need any major surgery.
Also, with that being said, and now that you've said that, WWE, you have really sucked SmackDown dry of its entire roster. And on top of that, with Jeff Hardy getting released, with, spoiler alert, Brock Lesnar is probably going to be working more on Raw now, and Toni Storm asked for her release. WWE, this is why you don't fuck the rosters. This is already starting to come and bite them in the ass. I don't know who's on SmackDown now. I don't know who's on SmackDown.
Cesaro, Ricochet, Sheamus. I'm trying to think of other names here. Both members of
Sami Zayn.
Nakamura. So, where was that Intercontinental title match on this show, Vince?
Yeah,
where was it?
It
was missing.
Like they've liquidated the entire main event, the main event card of SmackDown. No more Kevin Owens, no more Seth Rollins, no more Rey Mysterio, no more
no house that AJ Styles built either. I'm sure he's going to want to
say WWE, you may want to make that move now before your entire roster is liquidated.
Well,
anywho,
which
I have to go on that little rant right now.
Again, not to get too deep into spoilers, but I do think AJ will be moving to SmackDown very, very soon, to say the very least. But Raw tag.
So with that being said, McIntyre is taking off for that, but also this is the sheer definition of we can't put Drew McIntyre in the world title picture just yet. So we got to keep him distracted for a few months.
Nope.
We can't pull that trigger just yet. We know he's going to win the Universal title. You just can't do it right now.
He has to be the guy. Like, who else is there for Roman to beat now? It's got to be Drew. He's the face. He's the face of the company.
Exactly.
So, anyway. So what do we have next, my friend?
We have another tag team title match. It's the Raw tag team titles this time. It's RK Bro, Randy Orton, and Riddle defending against the Street Profits, who won the RK Bro tournament on Monday Night Raw. Angelo Dawkins and Montez Ford challenging for the tag team titles.
Son of a bitch.
I'm very surprised that the Street Profits won this Bro tournament, just because on Raw they're really pushing the Alpha Academy, and they're the team that's feuding with RK Bro right now. So WWE, why didn't you just have Alpha Academy win the tournament? I know, wild concept, right?
Mm-hmm.
Migos, this is where Migos come in. Migos come in and they
sure do.
RK Bro to the ring. They're having a grand old time. They're just dancing in the ring. They sit ringside. Brian Zane brought up a really good point. They got the velvet rope, but the commentators didn't. Which I'm just like, that just goes to show WWE cares more about their special guests than they do the actual commentators, actual employees of WWE.
Well, I mean, when they release 80 roster members in the past year, I mean, what do you expect? But this match was fun enough. I thought it was weird, though, just because the Street Profits had to work heel, and the crowd didn't exactly... I mean, RK Bro was over, but like it was almost like the crowd didn't know who to cheer for. Like, because the Street Profits...
And,
the Street Profits were very popular, too.
I wouldn't entirely be against Street Profits turning heel. I noticed that they were wearing different ring gear. I know Ford was being a little more obnoxious. Dawkins was being a little more intense. If the tag team title scene is a little overflow with baby faces, I don't see any harm in turning the Profits heel. The only issue I see is that Bianca Belair is still a baby face.
Yeah.
And they don't like to have one partner be face and one partner be heel. But if they want to experiment with this, I see nothing against it. I feel like the Profits have done everything they can as baby faces, so I see no harm in a little heel run for them. A heel run that they could easily just turn around on an instant. If it's not working, if they need him to work face again, I don't think that's going to, piss anybody off.
Excellent
if they switch
points.
back and forth.
Excellent points. And Tez's hair was different tonight too. Did you notice it was like really intricate cornrows in the back?
Yeah, they might be experimenting. I did notice Ford was being a little more obnoxious than usual. Obnoxious as a heel.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, yeah, and Riddle was getting heat. Of course they were building up to the Randy Orton hot tag, and I mean, there wasn't like the wrestling in this match. Obviously, I don't think it was up to par with the Usos and the New Day in the opener, but this was fairly solid. I mean, it gets to a point where there was Riddle launches Montez Ford way into orbit, all the way up to the scoreboard. And then, of course, you have to have the RKO out of nowhere. Honestly, this RKO out of nowhere kind of felt a little bit more contrived than more so the other ones. I know the announcers were putting it over huge, but it honestly didn't really impress me.
I thought it was
much.
Still pretty damn impressive. I think it was more put over as a double team finisher more than a holy shit, he had an RKO out of nowhere. I'm going to give Orton credit in the fact that he is very, very late into his career. He is a 20-year veteran. He just shattered the record for more pay-per-view matches than any other wrestler in history.
That's right.
And he is still finding new and creative ways to hit the RKO. 20 years later.
Yeah,
and I mean, I would even say Randy Orton doesn't look like he's slowing down anytime soon. This guy is a beast.
He's got loads left in the tank for sure, and that's I mean, we're going to be talking about his start on pay-per-view very soon in our 2003 retrospective. If you guys want to stay tuned for that, but I mean, it's just crazy how this guy seemingly never ages. But
yeah, this is definitely something I want people to discuss down in the comment section below. Do you think RK Bro is going to be split up anytime soon? We have kind of had this fantasy booking all year that we feel that these guys need to break up in time for WrestleMania, because remember, it was a week after last year's WrestleMania where Randy Orton lost to Riddle and this whole RK Bro ordeal started. So we always thought it would be fitting that this whole thing would culminate at next year's WrestleMania. But I was saying that RK Bro is too over of an act, I feel. It's way over. I feel like they're probably the top selling merchandise people right now. Vince loves it. And I feel like, is it too soon to split these guys up right now? I mean, I'm not against the idea, but at the same time, I do feel like WWE may look at this and say, we could get a little more mileage out of this before the imminent breakup, because this isn't going to last forever. We're not going to be sitting here 5 years from now and RK Bro are still together, but I don't, maybe it has a little more mileage than a year. Especially considering that they're over. It's an overact.
I definitely see where you're coming from, but I'm going to respectfully disagree with you on this, my friend. I think that Randy Orton versus Riddle is the only logical thing you can do for WrestleMania with these two. Randy Orton, I feel like, because the Royal Rumble is going to be in St. Louis in a few weeks, right? It's well noted, it's well documented that Randy Orton is from St. Louis, so I feel like what's going to happen is Orton and Riddle are going to face off against, hell, since you mentioned them, the Alpha Academy, let's throw them a bone. Alpha Academy pins Riddle to win the tag titles, and then Randy Orton just goes berserk on his former partner. And because honestly, Randy Orton, even though he's having fun as a babyface, you got to admit, he is much more fun to watch as a heel. So
yeah, and I'll even push this a little further with your little theory. You could hold that off until the Royal Rumble match, have them move the titles at the beginning of the show, go to the Rumble match. Riddle maybe accidentally eliminates Randy Orton. Orton's really pissed. Riddle's like begging for forgiveness, and maybe, I don't know, on Twitter he says, you know what, Randy, I'm going to make it up for you tonight. Kind of like a festival of friendship kind of thing. Like, tonight, I'm going to get all your favorite foods. I'm going to get all your favorite stuff. I'm going to get,
so Randy, hey, Randy, we're going to have a bro down tonight on Raw to make up for the Royal Rumble elimination, bro. I'm going to give you the snakeskin shoes. I'm going to give you the... I don't know why I'm...
all that stuff. And they could do a big, huge segment about it, like the Festival of Friendship. And at the end of it, Randy Orton could say, like, I never liked you. I never liked having you as my partner. You have been wasting my time this year. And they can absolutely obliterate Riddle. Both sides are very possible, and both sides will be very fun. I just know that when this breakup happens, it's gonna go down. I'm just wondering. I'm just knowing WWE. I just wonder if they're gonna pull the trigger right now.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. Only time will tell. But this is, I mean, it's an entertaining enough tag match. I'm comfortable giving it a 3. I mean, it's not going to be as good as the opener, but I mean, it was interesting to see the Street Profits work heel for a brief moment in time. But yeah, I mean, it was okay. I mean, you're not really going to remember this match tomorrow. But one match you are going to remember from this premium live event, which I don't even think we touched on. I'm not going to stop calling them pay-per-view reviews just because PLE review doesn't like roll off the tongue as well.
It doesn't. I see no harm. I'm not pissed. I'm not like raging over like, oh my God, they're not calling them pay-per-views anymore. Because if you think about it, pay-per-view is dead. Nobody's paying $60 for these shows anymore.
Except if you're AEW.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, since everything is on a streaming-based platform, I can understand them not wanting to call them pay-per-views anymore. I'm just saying, I've been watching wrestling for over 20 years. I've been calling them PPVs. You know, I love to go to my girlfriend, who is the ultimate casual fan, and I asked her, how do you feel about them being called premium live events? And the first thing she said was, I'm still going to call them pay-per-views. It doesn't roll off the tongue. And I was like, yeah, PLE. It's like if I told my friends, hey, you want to come watch the PLE tonight? They're going to look at me and say, what the fuck are you talking about? Are you trying to get me like involved in a timeshare investment or something? Oh no, I want you to come watch wrestling with me. Well, why didn't you just fucking say that?
Oh my God. Yeah. No, it's yeah, I mean, it's definitely more accurate than pay-per-view these days, premium live event, but
I will probably still call them pay-per-views because I'm so used to that. And yeah, I'll probably either say PPV or I'll still just say, hey, WrestleMania, like, you know, because that's what it's called. Anywho,
up next,
it's not the end of the world. It's not like it's not like when Vince said we're not pro wrestling. It's not like that.
Yeah, I was just kind of reading this, like, you know, this pay-per-view recap, and I rolled down and I was like, oh, premium live events. Okay, I feel like I got to address this now.
I know WWE's actually been wanting to do this for a while because, you know, they're not on pay-per-view anymore.
No.
And if you're paying $60 for day one, then you're fucking
stupid.
Dumb. Just gonna
you're
say
fucking
right
dumb.
Now. If you're paying more than $10 for any of these shows, then you're dumb.
You're fucking dumb. Yeah. But this is the first match I honestly feel like that feels like a pay-per-view match. First time ever, believe it or not. Edge going one-on-one with The Miz. When I saw The Miz interrupt Edge, I was like, wasn't my ideal first choice, but you know what? He's a safe opponent for Edge. You know, he's not going to hurt Edge in the ring, but Edge
Miz has been off TV for a considerably amount of time. Unfortunately, John Morrison got released, so I feel like this is WWE's way of saying, like,
fuck you, by the way.
Yeah.
Fuck you for reminding me.
They haven't been focusing on The Miz as a serious one-on-one competitor in the past 2 years, despite him winning the WWE Championship last year. So this is a good way to get him reintroduced back into a serious feud. The focal point of this feud has been kind of like Maurice. Maurice is back in the fold, so Miz is kind of using her as a human shield.
Right.
So I know Miz and Maurice tried to renew their wedding vows last week on Raw to get a bloodbath from Edge, which I thought was really cool. And
or a brood bath.
Yeah, the minute I saw that, we knew what was going to happen. Edge brought back the brood entrance. I saw some people that were complaining about this, saying it didn't make any sense, but I don't fucking care.
It made perfect sense. You know what? It almost felt like, this feels to me like Edge's equivalent to whenever the Demon Finn Balor comes out now. Anytime the brood entrance pops up, people are going to fucking pop. And,
but you know, allow me to be a mark for a minute, because I feel like reviewing wrestling, like, oh, you have to have the right. It's like, no, I'm going to say this right now. I don't fucking care if the brood entrance didn't make sense. I fucking liked it.
It was freaking great, and I honestly feel
not
like
everything has to make sense.
As soon as it went into Metalingus, Edge let out a primal scream that I honestly kind of chuckled at, and I shouldn't have chuckled at it. He was like, ah! I was like,
I love that transitional entrance. I love how it starts off with Brood and then it goes into his actual theme song. Like, let me be a mark for a minute. I fucking liked it, so I don't fucking care if it didn't make sense.
Hey, he gave The Miz and Maurice a bloodbath on the Go Home Raw. Of course he was going to pull out the Brood entrance here. So I feel like he's going to signal for it every time now. But this was honestly, like, I really enjoyed this match. I was really surprised. It was,
Me too.
Solid wrestling. You said this was your match of the night, too. And I was like, what?
This was my match of the night. Like, the chemistry was really good. Edge and The Miz are seasoned veterans. Edge has this new style that he's been wrestling, I've noticed this entire, which is really good. It's kind of a mixture of the big spots and the ring psychology. Edge has really gotten good at. So I really enjoyed seeing what Miz and Edge were going to put together here. And we saw the greatest out of both of them. We saw the Edge-o-matic. We saw an execution on the outside off of the apron, which was gnarly.
Oh, that was nasty. Yeah.
Also, fuck everyone that's calling it the Impaler DDT. It's the execution.
It is the execution. And, like, to anyone who says that The Miz is, like, you know, a coward in a wrestling ring at this point in 2022, you're fucking lying. The Miz, if you're calling The Miz a coward in the wrestling ring, you should not, you know, that's an invalid opinion in my eyes.
I'm gonna share a good comparison to this. Remember when John Cena broke his nose in 2015 fighting Seth Rollins?
Yep.
I forgot what, there was a wrestling like column I was following, and they posted a picture of that black and white picture of Cena with the broken nose with the blood coming out, and it just said professional wrestler. John Cena is a professional wrestler. I'm gonna say the same thing about The Miz. Professional wrestler. Yep. Not reality TV show star, not WWE superstar. The Miz is a professional wrestler.
He is.
And he's been proving that for over 15 years now. And he has my respect.
You can hate us all you want for these opinions, but, you know, I'm a big Miz fan. You know, hate me all you want for that.
Yeah, all those AEW marks out there will get mad to say this. I agree. MJF is just a less famous Miz.
He is. Line of the year.
Shout out to a good mic work that I've been listening to for over 10 years now. When he first started doing podcasts, he was calling out a lot of the TNA crazies, the people that would overly defend TNA and say that, oh, it's going to put WWE out of business.
Yeah.
And he made a very good point. Search, and mind you, this is when AJ Styles was still in TNA. Search AJ Styles in Google. See how many hits he gets. And then search Jack Swagger or The Miz and see how many hits they get. They're going to get more hits because they're more well-known in WWE. And he went down the list and said that he's no this, he's no that. And at the very end, he said, he is no Miz. That's right. I said it. Because when it comes to star power and being a ring veteran, at that time, The Miz is a veteran. The Miz is a professional wrestler. And that's the end of my Miz defending rant right now. I really enjoyed this match.
Even though I said it, Edge is my favorite act in WWE right now. Yeah, I totally agree with everything you're saying about The Miz. But no, Edge was fucking out of this world in this thing. I mean, I would say that Edge would be carrying this match, but it's crazy me saying that 11 years after he was forced to retire, but he's still pulling out bangers. You know, this was a really good fucking match. He was in the figure 4 leg lock for a while. The Miz, there was a point where The Miz tried to cheat by putting his feet on the ropes, and then the referee caught him. Jessica Carr, I want to say, who's been reffing all of Edge's matches lately, which is a great fucking sign.
And Edge wrote a very nice little thing for her after Crown Jewel, and I really like that. Edge is a class act.
He really is. He really is. But in any case, Jessica Carr catches The Miz's feet on the ropes, and the crowd starts chanting, "You can't do that!" And I'm like, okay, fuck, that chant's gonna catch on now, isn't it? You can't do that.
I love that because it's really hard to get wrestling fans back in kayfabe nowadays. So seeing the fans chant over the heel breaking the rules, it's nice to see. It's nice and simple.
It's not a British chant like "that's illegal," but I prefer that's illegal. But
Miz and Edge got into a really nice chain wrestling sequence after this, where they were kicking out a small package after small package into a backslide pin. Edge tries to lock in the crossface on The Miz. The Miz is doing a pretty damn good job of out wrestling Edge in this little sequence. Never thought I'd say that in my life.
Nope.
Yeah, it was a really nice sequence, I feel.
It really was. It really was, yeah.
I'm just mad Edge didn't pull out the educator in this match, because that would have made it perfect.
Oh, would have been so great. But yeah, Edge locks in the crippler crossface for a little bit, and then there was a point where Edge goes for a hip toss. The Miz lands on his knee, which was surgically repaired last year, his first major injury in his career, amazingly enough. Miz is selling it. Maurice at ringside hits Edge with her purse, which oddly enough does not have a brick inside of it. And then,
it wasn't a loaded purse.
It was not a loaded purse. It was just a piece of, it's a piece that you'd find at Gucci stores all around the world.
Yeah,
so,
it wasn't Shelton Mama's purse.
Yeah, it was not Shelton's mama's purse. So we're gonna get to that. We'll get to Shelton's mama.
Maurice didn't pull a giant needle out of her hair like Shelton's mama did and stab Val Venus in the ass.
No. Fuck, I forgot about that. But, yeah, so Maurice hits Edge with a non-gimmicks purse, and then Miz hits the skull-crushing finale for a very close 2. Maurice is appalled at this. But then it gets
real quick, before we get to this, I'm gonna let you say it, but we get the Kevin Dunn special. Fucked up cinematography. I'm gonna call it that from now on. The Kevin Dunn special. I've been working in this industry for 30 years, and I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Worst cinematographer in the biz. I said it.
Yes.
Said it.
Worst producer ever. Oh my god. And I know no one's going to run to his defense because everybody fucking hates Kevin Dunn.
Right. He misses Edge's first spear in 9 years in the Men's Royal Rumble to cut to a crowd shot. Fuck off.
At least he's consistent. At least he's consistent in what he does right now. What happens? That was absolutely ruined by the Kevin Dunn special.
Yeah, so basically the crowd starts looking at something at the entranceway, and then he keeps on the ring for a while. Just keeps at the ring. And actually, okay, thinking about it now, I'm like, okay, looking at the Miz's shot, first of all, and his reaction, I was like, what the fuck is he crowning on about now at the entranceway? But then it cuts to who he was looking at, Edge's wife, Beth Phoenix, with her hair all up in like I don't want to call it like pompadour style, but Beth Phoenix.
A very angry Beth Phoenix. She stands there snarling for like a good few seconds, which honestly I thought was a pretty badass shot of Beth Phoenix.
Beth Phoenix can still go.
Her music hits finally, and then she makes her way to the ring. I'm like, okay, I see what they were trying to do there, but for me as a wrestling fan, I pop when I hear the music. So if I was watching that and then Beth Phoenix music came on, I would have popped and said, oh shit, it's Beth Phoenix. But I saw everyone going, and I was like, okay. Because when this happened, I was like, okay, I think that's Beth Phoenix. Who else could it be? And then they cut to the shot to her. I see the shot of her, and I go, oh, Beth Phoenix. Like, it's not what I'm used to. So
yeah,
stop. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Freaking crazed look in her eyes. She goes down and chases Maurice up the ramp, evening the odds. And then Miz turns around into a spear on the Miz. And the match went 20 minutes. Edge pins the Miz after the Beth Phoenix evening. But, I mean, this was 3.5 stars. I mean, I'm comfortable giving it at least 3.5. But
even 3 3/4.
I thought it was
really
good. Very good match.
Very given enough time. These guys wrestled very well. They had good chemistry. I'd love to see it happen again. And something I thought they were going to do at WrestleMania, but it looks like they'll do it early at the Rumble. We know we're going to get this mixed tag team match.
They are doing it. Actually, spoiler alert for Tomas, that match was actually announced on Raw tonight for the Royal Rumble. So we're getting it.
Because you know with Edge and Phoenix both clear to compete, you know they were going to team up at least once.
At least once.
Quits for good.
Yeah, because, I mean, they're married now, and they haven't had a chance to actually do that together, you know, on camera. But I think that's freaking awesome. And, you know, with Edge can still go. Beth Phoenix, for sure, can still go. Anybody who watched her in the 2020 Women's Rumble match where she got her head cut up pretty badly, she's a fucking badass, guys.
I always said that Beth Phoenix wrestled in the wrong era. I feel like she would have thrived a lot better in this era, but you know, when she wrestled, she was dominant. She absolutely dominated, held the women's title on a lot of occasions. And you know, when she called it quits, I believe it was because she had nothing else to prove in the business.
Exactly, for sure. And that's a perfect segue into our next match. Speaking of women's wrestling, Tomas.
Here we go. It's the semi-main event. I feel like this is the match, other than Reigns and Lesnar, this was the match that had the most hype behind it. Mm-hmm. It's Liv Morgan challenging Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship.
Who's still a heel.
Yeah.
Fuck off, Vince. She's still a heel.
Okay. And I understand where you're coming from, but the story that they are portraying with Liv Morgan honestly benefited. It helped that Becky Lynch was a heel because she was putting Liv Morgan over big time as this underdog babyface that, hear me out.
Exactly.
We want to see win the title.
Thank you.
Thank you. To see her win the fucking title.
Can she can she win the Women's Royal Rumble, please? Don't have the rematch between these two at the Rumble. Have Liv Morgan win the Women's Royal Rumble and then go on to WrestleMania to finally win the big one there. Like, that's
main event night one.
It's so easy. It's literally so easy, guys.
You make the main event of WrestleMania a launching part for a launching pad for the star. I don't know why I'm so tongue-tied tonight. A launching pad for a star, exactly like you did with Bianca Belair last year. Why can't you do that with Liv Morgan this year?
You know what?
Cut to the chase. Liv Morgan did not win the title tonight.
No.
But if they make up for it with her winning the title at WrestleMania, it will be worth it. But I am just getting so frustrated.
I'm totally cool with it.
I know WWE is very safe with Becky Lynch right now, and I know how much of a big star she is. But don't you think it's time to give someone else a chance? Give someone else a chance.
Exactly.
You did a good job with Bianca Belair. You did a good job with the torch passing from Sasha Banks to Bianca Belair last year. But I feel like WWE needs to build some bigger women's stars.
Exactly.
I will sit here and say to them blue in the face, and I will defend WWE and say their women's division is still better than AEW's.
Yeah.
NXT's women's division is still better than AEW's. But there's still a lot of work here that needs to get done. And this is a prime example of it. WWE, and you fucked up because, you know, to get off topic for a little bit, you fucked up by not putting Toni Storm over for the SmackDown Women's title, which resulted in Storm asking for her release. And this is not a rumor. Storm just opened up about why she left WWE, and she said the main reason why she left is because she had to put over Charlotte Flair. She had to put over Charlotte Flair, and Charlotte Flair was a terrible person to work with. So if you do not build these stars, WWE, you're going to lose these stars. There's my soapbox for the night. I did not think I was going to get into one.
There's Tomas's for the night. There's Tomas's, yeah. But this is a good match too. This is the amazing thing. Like, I really, really dug this match. It's a 3.25 star. And the only reason why I didn't rate it higher is because the finish was fucked up. Liv Morgan.
This was Morgan's coming out party.
It really was.
She hit a really good job in this match.
She was very over with these people, and she was like, you know, feeding off of their energy. And like, this is a babyface you want to root for. You know what this is, Tomas? This is the Daniel Bryan Kofi Kingston feud from 2019. Becky Lynch is basically calling Liv Morgan a B+ player, and they're hyping it up like, you know, this feud.
Hell, this is Benoit and Angle from Royal Rumble 2003.
This is. Don't know if I want to mention Chris Benoit's name on a current WWE podcast right now, but there it is. But the thing is, yeah, this feud should not end any other way other than Liv Morgan becoming the Raw Women's Champion and finally winning the big one.
Understand WWE's logic. Okay, she lost on Raw. Okay. And then you give her this opportunity and you build, if you look at the video package for this match, it's all about Liv Morgan being the underdog. So why do you go through all of that trouble? And the minute this match ended, I turned to Brittany and I said, I hate when WWE does this. I really want to Liv Morgan to win. I really hate when WWE builds a fucking star to win and they don't have the win. It's like they're too fucking scared.
Yep. Vince is a chicken shit is what he is. I said it.
I'm sorry.
Vince is a chicken shit.
Bayley. I love Bayley. I love Charlotte Flair. I love Becky Lynch. And I love Sasha Banks. But you cannot stay with those the four horsemen. You cannot stick with them for the next 10 years. You gotta build some other stars. You had your chance. You had your Ruby Sohos. You had your Bianca Belairs. You had your Toni Storms. You have your Liv Morgans. You have then you fuck somebody up like Piper Niven. You have the talent. You have your Rhea Ripleys. You had your Nikki ASHs. You have the talent, but you gotta just fucking book them right.
Yeah. Yeah, you really have to. You know, this isn't like, you know, Rock Austin. They're going to be around. Like, Vince was pushing Rock and Austin as his two top guys for the longest time, and then both of them left the company within 5 years.
Yeah, you know, you got to have your Undertakers, your Triple H's, your Kanes, your you know, your Jerichos, your Benoits,
he certainly had those. He certainly had those. So yeah, point being, ladies and gentlemen, push Liv Morgan to the fucking moon. And it looked like she was, you know, honestly, I really wanted her to win tonight, but again, it was a case of like she was hitting Oblivion, she was hitting all of her big moves. Becky just hits one manhandle slam, which is again still a great name for a finisher. Gotta love that. But then Becky was, I don't know if this was like just poor placement for both of them, but Becky was supposed to have her feet on the ropes when she was pinning Liv there, and she was too far away. And she couldn't reach it, and it looked like she pinned Liv clean as a whistle.
So that's going to be, and now that you've said that, you know, I feel like what's supposed to happen on Raw tonight is Liv Morgan's supposed to call out Becky Lynch on that. But, now she kind of doesn't have a fair case because Becky Lynch didn't get her feet on the rope.
No, she didn't. She did not. Her foot was like a mile away from the bottom rope. Like, you could drive a fucking Mack truck through that.
I hope for once in my fucking life, WWE proves me wrong. I know that's a lot to ask for now.
Really hope so.
But, they have a chance to make a star out of Liv Morgan. And it's not just enough to put the title on the person, because this is the mistake they made with Nikki ASH earlier this past year. You can't just, WWE feels like you put the title on them, the work is done. No, it's not. The work has just begun when you put the title on them. You need to consistently book them to stay strong as a champion. When you're the champion, you should not be getting pinned every week. When you're the champion, you should not be made to look like a fucking chump on TV. When you're the champion, you are the best. And you need to be consistently booked like the best. You know how you book Roman Reigns? You need to book all your champions like that.
Yeah, none of this championship contenders match bullshit anymore. Nothing like that. No. You got to actually have number one contenders fatal four-way matches like the one they're having on Raw. The winner is facing Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble. Tournaments. Exactly.
Battle Royals. Do what they did with John Cena and Bryan Danielson back in 2015. Have the champions scout their own opponents.
Have the open challenges. Open challenges are, I like the concept, but I feel like it's kind of worn thin at this point when you have someone
done wonders for the mid-card titles.
Yeah, they've done wonders for the mid-card titles, but when you have someone like, I don't know, like Damian Priest, who's been on the main roster for a year, it doesn't really make sense. Someone like John Cena, it makes perfect sense to have an open challenge so that he showcases his talent.
Like Cena set the formula, and then everybody after that just tried to copy him.
Yep, that's exactly right. But while we're on the subject of champions, Tomas, are you ready?
Here we go.
Ready for the
big match we've been building to all night.
Sure is. Fatal 5-way for the WWE title. My boy Big E defending it against Seth freaking Rollins, Kevin Owens, Bobby Lashley, and now Brock Lesnar. And yes, Mike Rome did actually announce him as Seth freaking Rollins, and his nameplate actually said Seth freaking Rollins too, which is great.
Let me get this out of the way right now too. It's a fucking insult when your champion is not the last one to enter the match.
Yep.
I fucking hated that. That was so obnoxious. I don't care how big of a star Brock Lesnar is. He is the challenger going into this match. When you have the almighty, the architect, the prize fighter, and the beast incarnate coming for your title, Big E needs to be the last one coming in, surveying his landscape and saying, this is my fucking title. Come and get it, motherfuckers. Fucking hated how they made Big E like a fucking afterthought in this match. Right off the bat, I'm going to say that.
Big E, first bullet point, Big E was the one who took the pinfall in this. Fuck you. Fuck you for having Big E take the pin, guys. Like, you had Seth freaking Rollins sitting right there. He does not need to fucking be protected right now. I said it. Seth Rollins, he's already been built up enough. He is a perfect guy to take the pinfall in this situation.
You have Lashley, who needs to be protected like crazy because he's a big star. Mm-hmm. And after you made him look like a fucking chump to Goldberg, needs that. You have Big E, who's your champion. You have Kevin Owens, who just signed a brand new spanking contract with WWE. So you better damn well be protecting him.
I bet. Can I cut you off for a second?
Yeah.
Can I cut you off? I feel like if I were Kevin Owens right now, I'd be feeling pretty fucking foolish for signing on the dotted line. Just because Kevin Owens was my pick going into this to become the brand new WWE champion. Lo and behold,
we get into the actual
that did not happen.
Itself, yeah, because we actually don't have a lot to talk about with this match, believe it or not. I want to talk about speculation for a bit. If Roman Reigns if Roman Reigns did not test positive and this pay-per-view went on without a hitch, you said that Kevin Owens probably would have won this match. Who knows what was actually supposed to happen on Saturday?
Brock was supposed to beat Roman. Brock was supposed to beat Roman on this show, and then Vince fucking panicked because can I just get this out of the way? Bell fucking rings, right? And it was like this match. Here's the amazing thing: it wasn't a bad fatal 5-way. They only went 9. They only went 9 minutes, but it was like boom, 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 boom. It was all action and all finishers. It was almost like if you select 5 big heavy hitters on, I don't know, SmackDown Here Comes the Pain or something like that. And then you just max out all their finishers, and then they just spam their finishers the whole time. They're just tearing apart the ringside area. Brock Lesnar, or it wasn't Brock, it was Bobby Lashley put through the table.
Lesnar, yeah. I don't want to shit on Brock Lesnar too much because I've been enjoying the hell out of his work the past month.
Yeah,
Babyface Brock is something I never thought I'd say I'd enjoy. They've been doing a fantastic job booking him on SmackDown.
Yeah.
But you said it best. Vince panicked. Vince panicked.
Yeah, he hit the panic button. I mean, Brock's stuff with Sami Zayn, I find it fucking hilarious. I'm sorry. Yeah. It's great, you know, and Brock is a freaking beast in the ring, literally and figuratively. He's suplexing guys left and right. But then you get to, the ending point of the match. Bobby Lashley is in there with Brock Lesnar, and this was the big thing. I thought that Bobby Lashley and Brock were going to get into some sort of stare down. They didn't build up to it. They didn't build up to it at all. It was like Lesnar was getting to his feet, and Lashley was like, I've been waiting for this a long time. Get up. And he didn't wait for it. He didn't wait for the stare down. And he puts...
Also, everybody took an F5, including Big E.
Yep.
Including Big E. Lashley did not. Lashley hit the spear. I thought that was the end.
Lashley got the hurt. Lashley locked in the full Nelson on Brock.
Yeah, Lashley got the hurt lock on. And then Big E comes out of nowhere. He hits the big ending on Lashley, which I'm like, oh shit, Big E's going to retain. And then he goes for the big E ending on Lesnar. Lesnar counters, hits Big E with the F5, and Brock Lesnar is your new WWE champion. Big E. Okay, I was going to make a joke, but I'm going to be serious for me. Big E, I'm proud of you.
I'm
so
proud of you,
excellent champion. You deserve everything that you got this year. Chin up. I don't want this to be the last time Big E wins the WWE Championship. I fell in love with Big E this year. Not to say that I haven't been in love with him the past 10 years, but
obviously I did.
Yeah.
Obviously I did. He should still be the champion.
For the business, he is a prime example of somebody who came from the outside and worked his ass off. The day after he won the WWE Championship, I actually listened to the New Day podcast, and he was so humble on that. Mm-hmm. And he said that he didn't want to sit there and get praised the entire time. So, you know, I don't want this to be end for Big E. He will win the championship again one day.
It's not gonna be. It's not gonna be, guys. Because but let's be real. Let's be real for a second, though. All this fucking work that you guys put into Big E as this credible champion, him cashing in Money in the Bank on Bobby Lashley to that big fucking pop, and then he goes over, everybody on route. He beats Lashley in a steel cage, not at Extreme Rules, oddly enough. He beats Drew McIntyre at Crown Jewel in a great match. But then all this fucking work.
Stellar performance against Roman Reigns.
Yeah, all this work to make Big E a credible main event talent. All this work into Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens' unlikely partnership. All this work into making Lashley a credible badass again. All this work to make Kevin Owens re-sign a lucrative contract. All so you could put the title on Brock Lesnar again. All I have to say to that is fuck off. Fuck off. I am so annoyed.
Mad. I wasn't mad. And then I thought about it some more. I'm like, yeah, they literally just, because Roman Reigns couldn't be on this show, they literally sicked Lesnar and had him wipe out the entire main event picture on Raw.
And Big E had to be this fucking sacrifice, too. Fuck off, everybody.
The past 6 weeks they've been building towards this match, have it all thrown away. I understand what happened was unfortunate. Yeah. I understand WWE was trying to make up for it. And I wasn't against Lesnar being in this match. He didn't need to win.
He didn't need to win. He did not need to get pinned either. Again, Big E could have retained the title by pinning Seth freaking Rollins. Again, it's going to take...
literally on the way to pinning Lashley. And also, let's also factor in that after Rollins and Owens took those F5s, they were never seen again for the rest of the
match. That's a crazy thing. This fucking match ruled. All 5 guys were hitting each other with amazing moves. Kevin Owens hitting a bullfrog splash on Brock on the outside, which could not have been a comfortable thing for Brock to take. Kevin Owens doing the Brock Lesnar bounce on the outside. It was so fun to watch.
Lashley spearing Lesnar through the barricade.
I should have loved this match. I really should have loved this match. But
I'll give it 3.5. I'll give it 3.5.
I can't go higher than a 3.5 myself. I mean, if I'm being serious, it's got to be like 3.25 just because of this fucking finish. But the crowd in Atlanta popped, and you really, I don't want to hear any complaining for anybody who is at that show when Brock is, fighting Roman again. So, and that's another thing
for both titles.
That's another thing. don't make that fucking match title for title. You have like 3 pay-per-views to go before WrestleMania. You can make Roman versus Brock just for the blue belt by itself.
You really
I don't want
could.
them to unify.
And again, you got a lot of time. Reigns could easily come back and fuck Lesnar out of the title.
Yep.
Stuff can happen.
He could fuck Lesnar out of the title as soon as the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, just WWE, think about this, please. Just think about it.
It's literally so easy. There are wrestling, you don't have to make it this hard, guys. You really don't. Like, there are so many amazing scenarios they could take here. I was telling Tomas that my pick to win the Royal Rumble currently, at the time of recording, I have not seen Monday Night Raw yet. My current pick is Bobby Lashley. I mean, especially if Drew is going to be on the shelf. Bobby Lashley, I think, is perfect to win the Rumble and go on to challenge Brock.
And if you want to utilize Brock Lesnar at least, okay. Lashley, Lesnar, WrestleMania Night 1. Drew McIntyre, Roman Reigns, WrestleMania Night 2. It's not that hard. It's not that hard.
Wrestling's literally so easy, my friends.
It is.
It's not. Like,
I don't want to praise AEW too hard because, they have their own problems. They get it more, and I'm not very happy with Tony Khan right now after his recent comments on Twitter.
Yep, don't want to get too far into that, but
if you watch AEW and you see their booking decisions, it's as easy as that.
Yeah, it's
but at the
literally
end of the day,
the easiest thing.
AEW is a professional wrestling company, and WWE is a company with sponsors and big men in big suits pushing big pens, and they have their people. And at the end of the day, in WWE, it does not matter what we want. It's what they want. And that's the unfortunate thing.
Yeah.
It's what Fox wants. It's what USA wants. It's what NBC wants.
I don't want to talk about Fox right now. They're screw Fox. But I mean, day one overall, I mean, it's a WWE. I feel like this is a good wrestling show, but good wrestling can only take you so far in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
I think with WWE, so I realize I get it. It's all about what they want. It's not about what the fans want at this point, but I really feel like they need to get their act together.
They do.
Not release so many people. If I were to give this show a rating, I mean, I can't go higher than a 7. If I'm being real, it's probably a 6.75.
I'll give it a solid 7 for the wrestling. I didn't hate this show, but I didn't love it. I liked it more than Extreme Rules. Hell, I even liked it more than Survivor Series.
That I can agree with you on. At least it did not have Vince's egg on this show.
No.
And it was not revolving around Red Notice.
And it didn't have Demon Balor getting buried at the end of it.
Yeah, it did not have Demon Balor flopping around ringside like a dead fish. So, I just had to remind Tomas of that, but
we had to end this off on not such a somber note.
Exactly. But guys, again, thank you all for bearing with us. It's been always, so fun. We're gonna talk a lot more going into the year 2022. We got the Royal Rumble coming up, and I've put out a retro Royal Rumble pod on Twitter, so don't forget to vote on that. It's a tight race between 2 of those entries. So very, very intrigued to see what wins there. Of course, this month in the retro topic, 2003, we're going to be looking at SummerSlam and one of the most mediocre main events of all time. But, yeah, I mean, it's going to be fun over here. Tomas, again, can't thank you enough for being my co-host over here. You're the man.
Thank you, man. You're the man, too. I love just coming up here and talking about wrestling with you.
It's always fun. Always. Yeah, don't forget to smash subscribe and thumbs up on your way out, folks. See you guys for the next one.